Okay guys, now it's time, Maiden for the XUAV clouds, and all checks are done, double, triple, quadruple checked, and I also have some friends with me today to help me out, do some video filming and also helping me with the Maiden launch. First of all, of course, some pre-flight checks. Here I checked in angle mode how the control surfaces move, and also checked all the other controls with the radio. So everything is fine and ready for Maiden. Now we just need to wait for some satellites, and I also give some advice for my cameraman Glenn about how I will launch and where he should stand. My friend Andy is also making some quad chase footage, and here we get ready for the first launch. Now the INAV motor idle timer is active, so I have some time to get ready for the throw. And as soon as the motor spun up to 50%, it was already pulling hard, and when I throw it, it just went into the sky like, yeah, like it's the easiest thing in the world. First launch directly into angle mode in line of sight. All INAV settings are on default, completely default pits. I have nothing changed on that. So even here, completely stable flight, very smooth. And I was circling around a little bit. As you can see, I have some video interferences on the FPV feed. I don't know where they came from. I think somewhere in some of the guys has Wi-Fi on their mobile phone. And I was on channel R4 that is still within the Wi-Fi band. Maybe that has caused some interferences. And here we have some nice low-pass flights filmed by Glenn too. And it's really cool to hear the sound of the plane when it passes very low. During the maiden flight I did an auto-tune with INAV 3.0, and the final rates that were automatically tuned ended at 140 degrees per second on roll and 90 degrees per second on pitch. And here you can hear the sound of the plane low passing by. The rates were limited by me to 180 degrees on roll and 90 degrees on pitch, so the auto-tune went really well, so I have now a very gentle cruiser. Now let's look on the hardware setup I have used. On the powertrain side I have Sunny Sky motors, 2814-8 900 kV MK3 motors, the blue ones that are very efficient and very powerful. Here you see my self-designed pan and tilt system for the clouds with a run cam 2 on top now. On the first maiden flight I didn't install it, but now for the second flight it's prepared. And the FPV camera is a Foxeer Cat 3 Micro. Here you see my battery pack. I used 2 times 5000 mAh 4S LiPos from CNHL. Unfortunately I had a little accident tightening them up on the first time, so I broke some part of the mounting plate, so I had to use the second strap mount, but that's so far forward I had to fix it with some tape so it doesn't slip off the battery. But that's only a temporary solution, as the plane will get a proper battery plate later. Here you see the R9SX receiver with the newest Access firmware and the antennas on the side. This helps to prevent any shadows from the airframe. And here you have the Matic F765 wing flight controller. It's already pretty packed with connectors, but it's not even completed. There's more stuff to come in there. And on the bottom of the tray that I can lift up when I remove these 2 screws you see there, there's an INAV radar module for chase flights, so other pilots can see my plane in the air. Here I have a cover above the GPS. This is an Matic M8Q GPS underneath. And here in the back with a self-designed cover I have the Rush Tank Solo with a temporary Foxeer Lollipop 3 antenna for proper VTX cooling and good power. Now let's pull the plane forward a little bit to look at the bottom, because there we have the ESC base. These are iFlight Saxi X 55 amp slick ESCs with a maximum current capacity of 65 amps for bursts. And with the proper cooling in these bays and the heatsink, they are totally fine on temperature. On full throttle level flight, both motors together pull around 80 to 85 amps, and on launch they can pull up to 119 amps. That's why I also limited the launch throttle a little bit, and the batteries are fully charged after the Maiden, so now the Clouds is ready for the second flight. And I also changed some more settings to optimize it a little bit further. This time my friend Andy insisted to throw the plane, and he's an experienced model RC flyer, so I had no doubt about that. And as you can see, again, it basically skyrockets itself into the air. Now here we have the FPV view with the OSD. This time I raised the power level a little bit to have a bit better, more stable image, but you can see that I still have some interferences here. I have some horizon drift because I later realized when I checked after I went back home that I by accident set the wrong settings in iNav. I've overwritten the iNav default IMU accelerometer ignore rate and ignore slope. The defaults are 9 and 5, and I put the 2.6 values I used on all planes by accident on it with an ignore rate of 10 and slope of 0. But as this plane is very gentle and slow turning, and also turning very slow in a bank, this was not enough and still caused a lot of horizon drift, unfortunately. But that was not a too big problem, because the motors and these props have so much thrust, so much static thrust, that even on cruise throttle at low cruise I can climb without losing much airspeed. It's just crazy. On the first flight without the action cam installed, I did a vertical climb at 28 meters per second climb rate with no issues at all. So yeah, this is for sure the most powerful plane I have in my hangar now, although it's only meant to be a gentle cruiser. But yeah, that's why I limited some of the autonomous throttle controls, like launch throttle, down to 80%, and for navigation modes only 70% is the maximum throttle. I also tested that by using the cruise mode and then full pitch back. I have set the climb rate to 6 meters per second in cruise mode and 4 meters per second in navigation mode. And even with the 6 meters per second climb rate in cruise and the default 10 pitch to throttle ratio, so the throttle only goes slightly up when the nose goes up, it still speeds up on the climb. So it's absolutely mad how much power this plane has. Yeah, so now I had some trust in it to use return to home and also 3D cruise mode, so I was able to play around a little bit with the pan and tilt. As you can see, it's still a bit shaky, especially on roll, but that's not actually a problem of the pan and tilt itself or of the plane. The problem is the metal bearing I use for the pan mount. It has a little bit too much slack in it, so the center axle that where the platform rests on can move a little bit left, right, or forth and back. It is pushed back by the airflow constantly, so that's not a problem, but on roll it still can move if there's a little bit of turbulent airflow over it. So I need to find a way to optimize that a little bit, or maybe just get a better bearing. Yeah, at this point I was just cruising around a little bit and testing the flight behavior. I also used some manual tuning to tune the cruise throttle a little bit up, a little bit down. Unfortunately, I was not able to get any real flying speed values because it was pretty windy. We had sometimes low winds of maybe 10 kilometers per hour, then sometimes strong gusts like 30 or maybe 40 kilometers per hour. It was really hard to tell, so I wasn't able to make a real speed test, like how is the cruise speed. But at least I was able to do some stall test. Stall characteristic is fantastic on that plane. I went all the way back with the throttle and slowly pitched up, kept the nose level, and it just dips the nose a little bit. It gets a little bit wobbly on roll, but is totally stable, so absolutely no tip stall characteristic whatsoever. Yeah, here I was flying a little bit higher. I tried to find some smoother air. As this is a model flying field, it's certified for flying altitudes of up to 700 meters, so that was not a problem at all. And from up there I tried to make some nice HD footage before I then go down and make a few more low passes. At this point I also checked the motor brake, if everything is working well, and as you can see, as soon as I cut the throttle, the plane is just gliding, the motor just very slowly spins. This is very important because on landing the propellers will touch the ground, so I have to make sure that they are not spinning at high speed to hit into the ground and have time to get pushed away. Yeah, what's next with that plane? As I said before, it's only basic setup now for the Maiden. The only advanced thing I installed was the pan and tilt, but even that is only temporary installed. The next changes will be a new battery mounting system. I will create maybe first a 3D printed plate over the whole fuselage length, so the whole battery bay, to mount the batteries with an anti-slip coating, and later I plan to make a full carbon plate CNC cut that fits into the bay and holds the XT60, and also connectors for the pan and tilt in the nose, so I can replace parts if needed without fiddling around with all the wiring. It will also get a dedicated PDB. I have to self-design a whole PCB for that. That gets a voltage regulator and also a switch, because in the future it's planned that I will install a retractable bottom camera that goes down like a dome at the bottom of the plane, so I can have a 360-degree view and also can view vertically down for aerial mapping or just filming the landscape. And this will be switchable, so I can switch between both cameras back and forth, and also retract the lower camera. And I want to have these servos that control the pan and tilt systems to be on a separate BEC, just in case something goes wrong. I don't want to fry the servo BEC that controls the actually flying servos. That's very important that I keep them separated. It will also get an airspeed sensor. This will come in handy when I try autopilot on this plane. That's the reason why I have an F765 flight controller in there, to use both systems and get some experience on that side. What else? A few slight fuselage optimizations, like leading edge protection with Gorilla Tape will be applied, maybe a little bit of painting. But yeah, that's everything that's all stuff that will come piece by piece, and of course we'll also make updates about these modifications later. I initially thought that the props might have too little pitch actually, and I might need too much throttle and too much RPM to fly really stable, but as it turned out, that's not the case. It seems like even at 40% throttle and just about 8 amps, this plane is totally happy. I need to check what the cruise throttle is. Maybe I will try higher pitch props, but then for sure I have to make sure that the that the current does not exceed the limits. Right now, as I said, on launch 119 amps, that's practically close to the peak limit of the ESCs. Totally fine for the motors though. But yeah, I will see how that goes. First of all, I need to find a calm day to test all that. Yeah, a lot of things are planned. There's a RunCam 2 4K incoming I just ordered, so I can also make some 4K footage, and I hope till then I fix the pan and tilt roll wobble problem. And yeah, for now that's all I can tell about the plane. I have the rest of the flight here in the video too, also the final landing with a closer shot. For now, thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, then please give a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, of course, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.
See the stars and the planets soon follow. There she is.